every deity has an animal which is close to her or his heart.
True.
Every deity
has a vahana.
Vahana
Yes.
is an animal. Krishna also says that all life is equal.
Yeah.
May it be a human, or may it be a bee, or may it be an ant, everything is equal.
समझौता होगा वो तो यही समझौता हो सकता है ना कि वहाँ हिंदू मानते हैं वो जन्म स्थान है वो खाली हो जाए, वहाँ मंदिर बन जाए और बढ़ जाए और मस्जिद के लिए कोई और जमीन दी जाए। यही अयोध्या में हुआ था। तो क्या मुस्लिम समाज इसको मानेगा? क्या ये समझौता हो सकता है?
How can we give such a huge pedestal to China, and if it was an inadvertent error, then accept it? But how can anyone justify it, especially when they use Indian taxpayer money?
Good evening. You're watching The Nation at 5 with me, Toya Singh. This evening on the show, this Thursday evening, we're keeping our focus on one story primarily. All of the developments coming out of West Bengal, in particular in Sandesh Khali. Let's give you a what's been taking place in the context of the last few days. Then we'll tell you the big developments that have happened today. So you remember early in January, an enforcement team arrived on the ground in Sandesh Khali. They were there to arrest Sheikh Shah Jahan, a TMC local kingpin in the area. However, they couldn't find him. Now, a few weeks later, in mid-February, locals arose in protest. They came out and said that TMC leaders in this same region, Sandesh Khali, remember, is a small island in the west, the North Parganas 24 district of West Bengal. They were saying that the TMC leaders in the area have, for entire decades, so they said for 10 years, 5 to 10 years, TMC leaders have forced all of the farmers in the area into land grabbing, essentially taking farmers' land that farmers wanted to grow crops on and using them for fisheries. There are a number of other allegations that in the last few weeks have also come forward, with locals saying that TMC leaders in the area have also engaged in harassment, so forcing workers on the ground to do labor that is unpaid. There have also been 2 complaints of sexual harassment. Now, some of these complaints were directed at Sheikh Shah Jahan's assistants, so the 2 TMC leaders who assisted him. That's of course Shibu Hazra and Uttam Sardar. And in the last few days, both Shibu Hazra and Uttam Sardar were taken into custody. But the big question still remained: where was Sheikh Shah Jahan? He was the TMC leader who was, as we told you earlier, considered the kingpin. Today morning, he was arrested. And this is a huge development, obviously, in the context of West Bengal politics, because so far the BJP has questioned why the TMC has not taken action against their own leader, when the Calcutta High Court has also multiple times in the last few days come down severely on Sheikh Shah Jahan and said he needs to be arrested. So the BJP training their guns at the TMC today, finally, the West Bengal police arresting Sheikh Shah Jahan. And the development taking place just a few moments ago, and now we'll go into reactions, but just before that, the TMC finally suspending Sheikh Shah Jahan 55 days after he first went absconding, all of this taking place. That's a quick backstory. Take a look at reactions, then we'll connect with reporters.
The All India Trinamool Congress have decided to suspend Sheikh Shah Jahan from the party for 6 years. There are 2 types of parties. One type of political party does talk. But the Trinamool Congress does walk the talk. Mr. Modi, we dare you to suspend Narayan Rane. We dare you to suspend Himanta Biswa Sharma. And we dare you to suspend Sukhvinder Singh Sukhu.
Sheikh Shah Jahan has been arrested. There's a lot of celebration that is taking place.
No, it's not arrested. It's happened mutually. The Sandesh Khali people want CBI investigation. Central Bureau of Investigation should take over the case. You saw the picture today. The Shah Jahan is going to the court and police officer is escorting him. We want CBI. Sandesh Khali want CBI. The people of Sandesh Khali, they are totally deprived. No Amphan relief money they received, no urinal, no Abbas. The people of Sandesh Khali are poorest to the poor economically, and Sheikh Shahjahan, Ziarul Mullah, Alamgir, Sirajuddin, Uttam Sardar and Shibu Hazra, they are collecting thousands of crores money.
शेख शाहजहां की आज की अरेस्ट के बाद यह सबूत होता है कि तृणमूल कांग्रेस सरकार इनको राजधर्म पालन करना आता है। जिस तरीके से ये जीरो टॉलरेंस टू करप्शन से मुंह पे नहीं बोलता है, काम में करके भी दिखाती है। हमारा चीफ मिनिस्टर बहुत पहले कह चुकी है कि जो आम आदमी के खिलाफ कुछ करेगा उसको कोई रिहा नहीं किया जाएगा।
देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की लगातार आंदोलन की वजह से ये सरकार बाध्य हुई शेख शाहजहां को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए। पहले से तो ये सरकार डिनायल मोड में था, एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर रहा था कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ है। तो हमने पहले से ही बोला था, मैंने पहले से ही बोला था कि सरकार को बाध्य करेंगे, घुटने पे ले आएंगे कि शेख शाहजहां को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए ये बाध्य हो जाएगी।
Sheikh Shahjahan has been arrested. We welcome the steps of state police. You see, our leader Abhishek Banerjee earlier pointed out rather, that due to some parts of order from Honorable High Court, state police has been restrained from taking any action.
उतना बड़ा अत्याचारी, बलात्कारी, महिलाओं के साथ उत्पीड़न करने वाला, उसको ममता बनर्जी बचा के रखे इसलिए कि वो मुसलमान था, मुसलमानों का वोट इनको चाहिए।
Okay, let's go over to our colleague Payal to understand more. Payal, the big development coming in this story over the last few hours is that the TMC has finally suspended Sheikh Shahjahan. Sheikh Shahjahan's arrest and his suspension from the TMC, these were the two questions hanging over the TMC's head over the last 55 days. Why they hadn't suspended their leader, if the High Court also was calling him wrong, and of course why they hadn't arrested him. How is the BJP responding to all of these developments?
Well, the BJP is in fact going to make the most of this opportunity given the fact that the TMC finds itself on the back foot, Toya. The fact that Sheikh Shahjahan continued to be at large for close to 55 days and suddenly it seems the police was able to find him, and that too also the BJP says after they put pressure as well. But the writing was on the wall with Abhishek Banerjee mentioning on Sunday saying that they are not scared to suspend anybody. If they can suspend the Minister Partha Chatterjee, then why not anybody else? And how is it that once the court gave permission within the next 48 to 72 hours, they were able to suspend, they were able to find Sheikh Shahjahan from the same district where he had gone missing, and of course they've been able to nab him and also suspend him. So these are the questions that the BJP essentially is asking, is that this is nothing but a handwork of the BJP. The BJP alleges it's a handwork of the TMC, and the TMC is working in tandem with forces like this on ground, just to make sure that they're able to grab land, just to make sure that they're able to commit atrocities on women. So all of these allegations are coming in thick and fast as far as the BJP is really concerned. And interestingly, the arrest of Sheikh Shahjahan happening less than 24 hours for the Prime Minister to hit Bengal, and he's going to be in Bengal for 2 days. It will be important to see what message he brings for the people of Bengal, especially the women, because the women have been rejoicing today with the arrest of Sheikh Shahjahan, because it seems that their misery will finally come to an end and they'll get justice.
Payal, just walk us through some of the electoral dynamics that are at play. West Bengal, obviously the third biggest state, but the region where all of this has happened in the North Parganas 24 district, BJP stronghold or TMC stronghold, and how could this reflect electorally?
This is definitely a TMC stronghold, and the minority votes are also a significant amount of numbers in terms of votes as well. Nusrat Jahan is the MP, and she's completely been silent on the entire issue, and she's in fact been told for remaining silent on the issue while focusing on several other issues as well. So that is something which is, of course, the BJP is going to play to the galleries. The BJP is also looking at probably expanding its vote bank and essentially telling people that here is a government, the TMC government, which has been trying to appease one particular segment of society, one community to get their votes, which is also a significant amount of votes in the state of Bengal. But here is a party which speaks about the welfare of all, and speaks about the security and safety of women. You know, nobody took the BJP really seriously, Toya, in 2014, and the party was able to get just 2 seats in the Lok Sabha. But in 2019, they surprised one and all by getting 18 seats. The idea of the BJP is to make sure that they are able to get their number up and probably bring it to close to 2 dozen, because there are 42 seats that are up for grab. as far as the state of Bengal is concerned. It's been something which has been on the wish list of the BJP top leadership, whether it is Amit Shah, whether it is JP Nadda, or even Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But, you know, in 2021 Assembly, if you cover the 2021 Assembly elections, you do understand that the one vote bank which stood very rock solid despite the onslaught by the BJP in favor of Mamata Banerjee was the women vote as well. That is a vote bank the BJP is currently now eyeing, and that's the reason you will see a lot of attacks coming in from the BJP leaders saying that this is the woman chief minister, the only woman chief minister in the country who could not even secure the interest of women in the country. So what is the TMC really talking about in terms of 33% reservation for women, speaking about all kind of schemes for women, but women are not made to feel safe. So that's the line of attack that is going to be, and of course this time around it is going to be a battle of the women votes as far as Bengal is concerned between the BJP and the TMC. And we have seen, you know, in several elections, whether it is Bihar or even Madhya Pradesh recently, as to how women can actually swing around an entire election on their merit and on their votes.
Payal, we'll return to you in just a second. As my colleague Payal said, Nusrat Jahan is the MP in the area. She has been criticised for not visiting the ground once over the last few weeks, as of course is the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. We're going to play out different reactions to the story, then we'll go back to our colleague Payal for more context.
You have you have gone to Sandesh Khali, Rakhi have been tied to you. What's your feel, sir?
Justice has been done. Justice delayed, but justice has been done. This is not the victory of those women of Sandesh Khali alone. This is a victory of womanhood. This is a victory for the whole nation. Yes, we should all come together and rejoice at it. It is true that undue delay was there, but this is not the time for a post-mortem analysis. Deed has been done. The big message which is yet to be given to the others, there are so many Sheikh Shah Jahans in different pockets of Bengal. They should take a lesson from this. They have an option to surrender voluntarily. If they do not, similar action will be taken against them also.
Sir, you have intervened in various ways in this case. You yourself, you went there, you spoke to the woman out there, you spoke to the government. Do you think that the government was a little late, and the fact that this High Court stay is being shown by the police? What's your take on that, sir?
At this juncture, I do not want to blame the democratically elected government. That analysis will be done later. Now what is important is to see that the arrest and its follow-up is made effective. Secondly, strong warnings should be given to the other Sheikh Shah Jahans. They should be shaken. Those people who are the perpetrators of violence everywhere in different pockets of Bengal, they should take the lesson from there. That is why next step should be to make all the goon gangs surrender.
আমাদের জয়, আমাদের লড়াইয়ের জয়, আমরা খুশি, কিন্তু তার থেকে সম্পূর্ণ খুশি হতে পারছি না, কেননা ওর প্রচারণায় যে আমাদের এখানে সমস্ত কিছু ওই বিনয় সর্দার এ যদি ধরা পড়ে তবে আমরা 100% খুশি হব, কেননা আমরা অত্যাচারিত ওর হাতে। ওই আমাদের জমি বাড়ি দখল করে নিয়ে লোকের ঘর বাড়ি ভেঙে দিয়া অন্তত 50টা ঘর ভেঙেছে, এখানে মাছ লুট করা, যখন যেটা মন করছে তখন সেটাই করছে। আমরা সম্পূর্ণ আস্থা পাবো এই বিনয় সর্দার ধরা পড়লে। শেখ শাহজাহানকে ধরা হয়েছে, আমরা খুশি, কিন্তু আমরা খুশি হতে পারছি না সম্পূর্ণ, যে আমাদের জমি নিয়ে নিল, আবার পুলিশের কাছে মিথ্যে কেস করে আমার স্বামী আমার দেওরাজ বাড়ি ছাড়া, তারা বাড়ি ঢুকতে
বলছিলেন যে আপনার বাড়িতে আপনার স্বামী মারা গেছেন এই জমির জন্য, আপনি কি এবারে প্রশাসনের কাছে গিয়ে কমপ্লেনটা করে আপনার জমিটা চাইবেন ফেরত?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, আমরা সবাই চাই, আমরা সবাই একসাথে চাই যে বিনয় ডাক্তারের যাতে শাস্তি হোক।
Okay, on the bottom of our screens right now, we're bringing you a timeline, how everything has played out over the last month, which is when, midway through Feb, women first came out and raised protest against TMC leaders in the area. Okay, let's go now to our colleague Payal. Payal has been bringing us ground reports over the last few minutes. Payal, if we could come back to you to understand more right now. First, let's ask you just about how the BJP is going to be framing this. We know that earlier the BJP did have plans with the Prime Minister. As you'd already told us, over the last few days it had been clear the Prime Minister would be landing in West Bengal. He'd be addressing a rally of women. He might even meet victims of Sandesh Khali. The fact that Sheikh Shah Jahan has now been arrested, How is the BJP going to frame this?
Well, the BJP essentially will say this, that, it is under their pressure and it is under their relentless raising of the issue that the administration has woken up and the administration has decided to act and arrest Sheikh Shahjahan. Had it come to Mamata Banerjee herself, she probably wouldn't have done anything. That's what the BJP is going to say, because they say that they've woken up Mamata Banerjee and her government and her police from this slumber. The police, is working like an arm of the TMC. That's the allegation that the BJP leaders have been making time and again and saying. And as to why, the Sheikh Shahjahan, if you looked at his body language when he was moving around in the police station, did not look like a criminal, because he was seen flashing the victory sign, which he had no reason to really flash, which clearly meant that he had no remorse for what he did, and probably he knew that he did not have any repercussions to really worry about. But obviously there will be plenty of repercussions as far as the impact is concerned, because it's just he's currently in the custody of the state police. At some stage or the other, the ED and the CBI both will be asking for his custody, and that is where his actual problems are going to begin, is what the BJP really is saying, because the BJP has been saying that there is a strong demand that this case needs to be handed to the CBI. But if you remember, in the last few years, the general consent given to CBI to come and register cases has been withdrawn by the Bengal government, that being one of the first few governments to have withdrawn that consent. So that's going to be the problem as far as the CBI is really concerned. But yes, the BJP will play to the galleries. They essentially say that, this is what the state of affairs is, and this is how women are made to feel in the state. You can expect a very, very strong message coming in from the Prime Minister himself, because the Prime Minister will be speaking tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and then again on the 6th. The 6th is a big rally, Toya. 6th is when close to 2 lakh women are expected to join the Prime Minister's rally in Barasat, which is again in the same constituency as, in the same district as North 24 Parganas. The BJP is going to make a huge show about it. They're going to say that, here is a woman's chief minister who's not been able to protect the interest of the women. So obviously, like I said, that in 2021, the difference between the BJP and the TMC to a large extent was that the women stood behind Didi ke bolo, and Didi's persona, Didi's image actually worked wonders for them as well. But this time around, the imagery is going to be different. The plank on which the BJP is going to attack the TMC government is also going to be entirely different. It'll be important to see, like Madhya Pradesh and probably like Bihar, will women rally behind Prime Minister Narendra Modi, given the initiatives of his government towards the safety, security and the welfare of women. That remains to be seen, because many women, who we spoke to, Toya, mentioned that they were not even allowed to cast their vote, and if they went and casted their vote, then probably their family was victimized. Their men were picked up, frivolous cases were filed against them. All of these atrocities is what women have been speaking about, that their job cards have been taken away, they've been made to slog and labor for no money. So those are the kind of atrocities, of course, apart from the sexual assault that they've been speaking about.
Payal, can you also tell us, though obviously now you are in Kolkata, can you tell us a little bit more about the mood in Sandesh Khali? It's been a few days since multiple different commissions went down there. We know that investigations are going on. Is there at all a change in the sense of fear that some reporters initially said was present in Sandesh Khali? And also, Payal, some reports saying that TMC leaders are now the ones living in fear, local TMC leaders not daring to step out of their house, fear that locals may come in, may find them. What did you find to be true, and can you just tell us a little bit more about if there's been a mood shift at all?
Toya, I managed to go on ground and I did a couple of ground reports, and essentially I asked the women a lot of questions, and I did ask them that, why did you speak about this right now? Why did you not speak earlier? So the women were frank enough to say that, earlier we had no choice. Sheikh Shahjahan is a dreaded criminal. His accomplices would do action against us, pick up our men, probably beat us up. So all of these issues were there. And I remember the women clearly telling me that, the tiger was on the prowl and we had no option but to save our own lives. But now that Sheikh Shahjahan was absconding for those number of days, and now that they saw a hint of support coming in their way, the women decided to speak, because they said enough is enough and they needed to come out and really raise their voice, because wrong was being done to them. The lands were being taken away. The old, those people who had actually slogged in the region for years together, they had no land for themselves. Their land was taken away. They were assaulted. Their men were picked up. Multiple things were really happening. So they said they had no other choice but to put up with that. But now when they saw a ray of hope, they've come out and really spoken. Our local TMC leaders have been rounded up. You saw what really happened to Ajit Maiti. I was in fact on ground when he had to actually shut himself up in a house, in a room, fearing that he would probably be mobbed and probably be killed by the mob, because the women had approached him with brooms and were ready to attack him with brooms as well. The women were so angry. But later on, of course, the police arrested him. So that also tells you a kind of a story, because there have been many camps that the Bengal government had set up in the region to ask people to come out and complain. And complaints have been received by them as far as the land grab is concerned. And the government has promised them that the lands would be returned. But if the lands had to be returned, then why were the lands taken away in the first place? That's the question which the BJP is also asking. That's the question that the locals are also asking, saying that if the wrong has been done, you're trying to correct it right now, but why don't you accept that the wrong was really done in the first place? So that's going to be a huge thing to watch out for, what the line of attack will be in the coming few days. But yes, it seems that as of now, politically speaking, the TMC, even if it's putting up a face saying that yes, we've taken the course of law, we've allowed law to really take its own course, we've acted accordingly, but that seems to be not having too much of a space in terms of what people were really expecting a woman chief minister to really do. It will be important to see how they do that image correction in the coming few days, because the buck stops at Mamata Banerjee's doorstep, because Sheikh Shahjahan was a member of her party. Of course, he's now suspended. But why was he not suspended the moment he was absconding in a case where, of course, the ED officials were beaten up at his doorstep?
Okay, Payal, thank you. We're going to just walk our audiences through more reactions. This is a story we're continuing to keep our focus on. Why the TMC didn't take action earlier. Indeed, the High Court said that complaints had been coming in for a few years now. So the High Court accordingly said that this wasn't a matter of just the last few days or the last month. We're going to take a deeper dive into that aspect in just a second. Right now, though, take a look. More reactions coming in.
What is the TMC government and police gloating about? They should not be saying that they have finally arrested Shahjahan. They should be telling us that for the last 50 plus days, who was defending giving state patronage and protection to Shahjahan. Shahjahan has been arrested only as a cosmetic measure. It is nothing but eyewash. It is only happening when the BJP took up the issue of Sandesh Khali, was on the streets, and even the courts were forced and constrained to come down heavily on the TMC government and on the action of the police. That is when Shahjahan, who was in the state protection, state Savrakshan and state custody, has now been shown as arrested. He was actually always with the TMC. The TMC knew exactly where he was and gave him protection.
354 case added.
Not in this case. In this case, the complaint did not pertain to 354 at all.
Any sexual assault case against Shahjahan, sir, till now?
There have been many cases. I don't remember exact nitty-gritties of all the cases. There have been many cases after 7th, 8th or 9th February. But like I said, let me reiterate, all those cases which have been registered since 8th or 9th February, they pertain to incidents which had taken place 2 or 3 years back. And investigating them, gathering evidence, marshalling evidence takes time, takes a reasonable amount of time, particularly in terms of cases which had happened 2 years back. But this was a case, in the case in which he has been forwarded, it took place, as you all know, on 5th January during the course of a ED raid in Najat Peace area.
शेख शाहजहां की गिरफ्तारी तब हुई है जब हाईकोर्ट का पूरा दबाव आया और हाईकोर्ट के दबाव के 2 दिन के अंदर अंदर वो गिरफ्तार हो गया. इसका मतलब ये बिल्कुल स्पष्ट है कि ये टीएमसी की सौजन्य से 55 दिन उसको नहीं पकड़ा गया. ये बिल्कुल स्पष्ट है. ये टीएमसी की लीडर है, ये टीएमसी की संरक्षण में रहा है, उस समय भी रहा जब संदेश खाली को लूटा जा रहा था, उस समय भी रहा जब एफआईआर दर्ज हुआ और उसको गिरफ्तार होना था, उस समय भी टीएमसी संरक्षण में रहा. तो टीएमसी का जो असली चेहरा है वो बिल्कुल स्पष्ट सामने आया.
As we promised earlier, this is a story we're going to go deeper into on the other side of this short break. This is The Nation at 5. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
I'm going to dive deeper with you, Anshul, as far as the PDS scam case is concerned. But at the moment, let's also listen to the political reactions that have come in before we take this conversation forward.
शेख शाहजहां की आज की अरेस्ट के बाद यह सबूत होता है कि तृणमूल कांग्रेस सरकार इनको राजधर्म पालन करना आता है, जिस तरीके से ये जीरो टॉलरेंस टू करप्शन से मुंह पे नहीं बोलता है, काम में करके भी दिखाती है। हमारा चीफ मिनिस्टर बहुत पहले कह चुकी है कि जो आम आदमी के खिलाफ कुछ करेगा उसको कोई रिहा नहीं किया जाएगा।
देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की लगातार आंदोलन की वजह से ये सरकार बाध्य हुई शेख शाहजहां को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए। पहले से तो ये सरकार डिनायल मोड में था, एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर रहा था कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ है। तो हमने पहले से ही बोला था, मैंने पहले से ही बोला था कि सरकार को बाध्य करेंगे, घुटने पे ले आएंगे कि शेख शाहजहां को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए ये बाध्य हो जाएगी।
Sheikh Shahjahan has been arrested. We welcome the steps of state police. You see, our leader Abhishek Banerjee earlier pointed out that due to some parts of order from Honorable High Court, state police has been restrained from taking any action.
इसलिए ये अरेस्ट नहीं है, ये म्यूचुअल एडजस्टमेंट है। जितना टाइम तक सेंट्रल एजेंसी इसको हिरासत में नहीं लेगा, उतना टाइम तक वहां का पीड़ित जनता को न्याय नहीं मिलेगा।
Not in this case. In this case, the complaint did not pertain to 354 at all.
Any sexual assault case against Shahjahan sir till now?
There have been many cases. I don't remember exact nitty-gritties of all the cases. There have been many cases after 7th, 8th or 9th February. But like I said, let me reiterate, all those cases which have been registered since 8th or 9th February, they pertain to incidents which had taken place 2 or 3 years back. And investigating them, gathering evidence, marshalling evidence takes time, takes a reasonable amount of time, particularly in terms of cases which had happened 2 years back. But this was a case, in the case in which he has been forwarded, it took place, as you all know, on 5th January during the course of a ED raid in Najat PS area.
The ED sources have now shared exclusive information with CNN News 18 with regards to Sheikh Shahjahan's arrest. The High Court, they are saying, had asked the West Bengal police to arrest Sheikh Shahjahan, and today he has been arrested by West Bengal police, and that it is evident that he was in touch with the police. The court had ordered a stay on Sheikh Shahjahan's arrest in one case, but there were other cases in which the Bengal police could have arrested him, but they did not. The question now that the Enforcement Directorate is posing is, why has Sheikh Shahjahan been arrested today? Why wasn't this arrest done earlier? For more details, let's quickly go across to Anshul, who's bringing us this information. Anshul, remember, the Bengal police has been very quick, and not just the Bengal police, but even TMC leaders like Abhishek Banerjee have said that there were legal ramifications to his arrest, and there were hurdles, which is why he was not being able to get arrested. But having said that, how the Bengal police always latched on to the Enforcement Directorate to sort of camouflage why Sheikh Shahjahan was not arrested so far?
Well, definitely there is a big controversy going on between the West Bengal police and the Enforcement Directorate. This morning in the press conference that was done by the West Bengal police, they had raised question that there was a stay that was granted by the court, and hence the West Bengal police could not go ahead and arrest Sheikh Shahjahan, whereas there was no stay for the Enforcement Directorate to go ahead and arrest him. Why didn't the Enforcement Directorate arrest him now? To this, what sources within the ED have told CNN News 18 at this point in time is that when they went to question Sheikh Shahjahan at his residence, they had credible information that there is a huge stash of cash and there is a huge stash of black money that could be stacked at his house, and that is the reason why Sheikh Shahjahan went ahead and attacked the ED officials. Post that the manner in which the investigations were done by the West Bengal police, that is also a very big question mark. Also, the Enforcement Directorate has said that there should be a parallel investigation that should happen, that who within the administration was actually trying to shield Sheikh Shahjahan, and in fact helped him to do away with the money and weapons that were stashed at his house as well. Now, what sources within the Enforcement Directorate are telling us that they will be keeping a very close eye on the investigation that is being carried out by the West Bengal police. Also, the manner in which the West Bengal police has gone ahead and registered several FIRs against Sheikh Shahjahan, this seems to be a tactic by the West Bengal administration to keep Sheikh Shah Jahan away from the hands of central agencies like ED and CBI, because remember, once the police custody is granted for one case, there is a limit of 14 days for the accused to be granted a police custody, and until and unless that accused is sent to judicial custody, the enforcement directorate cannot go ahead and ask for their custody to be handed over to them. So yes, this is what the ED is suspecting at this point in time, and that is the reason why they say that they will be keeping a very, very close eye on this entire investigation, and they will also make sure that as soon as Sheikh Shah Jahan is sent to judicial custody, they will try to take him under their custody, because they need to question him on the PDS scam, and not only on the PDS scam but also on the land grabbing accusations that the enforcement directorate is looking at this point in time. So yes, there are several things that the enforcement directorate needs to question Sheikh Shah Jahan about. Now, since he has been arrested by the Bengal police, they will now keep a close eye on how the Bengal police will go ahead with this investigation, and not only with this investigation, as to how quickly can Sheikh Shah Jahan be sent to judicial custody. Post that, enforcement directorate could move the courts and ask for his custody to be taken by the enforcement directorate themselves.
Absolutely, that's a very interesting point that you're making, that the ED can only gain access to Sheikh Shah Jahan once Sheikh Shah Jahan is granted judicial custody. Having said that, do take our viewers through what are the charges that he's been arrested under at the moment, because remember, Sheikh Shah Jahan is someone who's been facing a host of charges. It's not just molestation of women.
Well, yes, if you see the manner in which the investigation was being done by the West Bengal police, the initial charge, there were several cases that were filed against him, and in some of the cases his name was also not registered by the West Bengal police. That is another accusation that is being put forth. Now, today in the case that he has been registered, he has been arrested for attacking ED officials, or being the mastermind for that attack that happened on ED officials on February 5th, when a team of enforcement directorate actually tried to reach his residence to carry out a raid or search operation, because the ED had specific information that there could be a huge stash of illegal weapons and black money that could be stocked up at his house. This was the credible information that the salutes of enforcement directorate had, and that is the reason why they decided to go ahead and carry out a raid at his residence. But the manner in which these attacks happened, the enforcement directorate went ahead and registered an FIR in this entire matter to the West Bengal police, and it is in that case today that we are seeing that Sheikh Shah Jahan has been taken into custody by the West Bengal police, and a 10-day police custody has also been granted by the West Bengal courts as well. So yes, there are other cases in which Sheikh Shah Jahan's name has come up, be it in the money laundering case, or molestation against several women where the names have come up. We have seen over the past 50 to 55 days as to how this entire controversy was.
Welcome back. You're watching The Nation at 5 right here on CNN News 18. We are continuing to cover all of the developments on the ground in Sandesh Khali, an island in the North 24 Parganas district, where, remember, as we speak, a TMC leader, Sheikh Shah Jahan, was arrested early this morning after weeks of allegations by women and locals that over the last few years there was systematic land grabbing taking place in the region, apart from other complaints. Now, as we told you earlier, the TMC has commended the West Bengal police for making this arrest of Sheikh Shah Jahan early this morning. They've also suspended their leader. But as we speak, my colleague Anshul brings us these documents, and we're just going to share some of the excerpts from these documents with you in just a second. We'll share them with you in more detail. Right now, we're just showing you visuals. We'll actually take you through them in just a second. But my colleague Anshul presents these documents. He argues that these documents present a case to show that the TMC was systematically, and not the TMC, the West Bengal police was systematically, even though there were multiple complaints made against Sheikh Shah Jahan, seemingly shielding the TMC leader. Okay, this is obviously allegedly right now, but we'll walk you through these details, these takeaways, then we'll connect with our reporter Anshul to get you more details in just a second. Okay, behind me on the screen, we're going to be showing you key points from each of these visuals. Some of these are takeaways from FIRs, complaints that were filed in different cases going as far back as you can see as 2019. This is an FIR that named Sheikh Shah Jahan. Essentially, it said that there were 150 to 200 armed with deadly weapons. But in this case, the charge sheet is not available. We're going to walk you through, in this same one, the argument or the allegation made is that these people, these 150 people who were armed, they vandalized Devdas Mondal's home, and an FIR was registered in the name of Shah Jahan, but that aspect was later deleted. Now, in this case, Debojit Mondal reportedly tried to flee. Later, he couldn't be traced. The FIR registered in the name of Shah Jahan was deleted. Now, Shah Jahan was, along with Ghazi, threatened, and in Sandesh Khali, 23 were named, only 6 were charge sheeted. And this is what our reporter Anshul is pointing to again and again, that seemingly again and again, where Sheikh Shah Jahan is held responsible in the beginning, either his name is missing, it's very rarely that his name actually makes it to the paperwork, a probe against Shah Jahan pending, a different case saying that Sheikh Shah Jahan was absconding altogether. All of this we'll show you in just a second. Over here you can see a Mondal beaten up, abducted, could not be traced later, charges in the FIR diluted during the filing of the charge sheet. Okay, we'll keep playing this out for you. We'll also wait for our reporter Anshul to be patched. As my colleague Anshul is patched, we'll go to him. Anshul, we're just sharing with our audiences, but because these are excerpts, I did want to come to you first to get a comprehensive overview. Then we'll take our audiences to those documents because they are complex documents. Anshul, tell our audiences, because we obviously know these, the allegation essentially is that since all the way back in 2019, it seems as if there was a pattern of the West Bengal police shielding Sheikh Shah Jahan. Is that the essence of what you're saying with these documents?
Well, definitely that is the big question that we are raising at this point in time, because the case studies that have come forth, the investigation that has been done by CNN News 18, it clearly states that somewhere or the other the West Bengal police was actually trying to shield Sheikh Shah Jahan from the allegations that were put forth in several of the cases. The first case that we are talking about is of Devdas Mondal. Now, Devdas Mondal was initially attacked, his house was ransacked, and eventually his house was set on fire. Then on the very next day, that is on the 9th of June 2019, his wife goes ahead and files an FIR. In that FIR, the name of Sheikh Shah Jahan is mentioned as accused number 1. Along with Sheikh Shah Jahan, there are 23 other people who have been named in this entire FIR. Now, there is a second FIR that has also been filed in this entire matter, and in that, during that investigation of that FIR, it came to the fore that the Bengal police, through DNA sampling, has been able to pinpoint that Debojit Mondal, along with his father, has been murdered, because the body was found in pieces, and once the DNA sampling happened, it came to the fore that Devdas Mondal and his father has been murdered. Now, in this FIR as well, Sheikh Shah Jahan has been mentioned. The name of Sheikh Shah Jahan has been mentioned as accused number 1. But now, eventually, when the charge sheet was filed in this entire matter, the name of Sheikh Shah Jahan was deleted from that entire charge sheet. In fact, he was kept just as an accused, but he was not charged of any of the crime. In fact, the other 23 other people who were named in this FIR, their names were also changed, and some new names were added to the to this entire charge sheet. These names, remember, were not mentioned in the initial FIR. The other cases that we have been able to track down, and the investigation that we have been tracked down pertains to a case of rioting at a West Bengal electricity board, where initially the first charge against Sheikh Shah Jahan is that he enters the office of that electricity board and starts beating up people. In this case as well, the FIR mentions charges of arms act, but eventually when the charge sheet is filed, the name of Sheikh Shah Jahan goes missing somewhere, and the charges of arms act, that is 25 and 27 of arms act that were mentioned, were also eventually diluted in the charge sheet as well. Another case that we are talking about is about the murder of Pradeep Mondal and his father Sujanta Mondal. Now, in this case, both these people were shot at point blank. In the FIR, the name of Sheikh Shah Jahan is yet again mentioned. Now, even till date, the charge sheet in this entire matter has still not been filed. Now, in one of the cases as well, the police goes ahead and mentions in front of the court that Sheikh Shah Jahan is absconding, he has fled. But on the other hand, during the same time period, Sheikh Shah Jahan could be easily seen in his area doing public rallies, being visible publicly as well. So this is the question that we are raising at this point in time. Was actually somewhere or the other Bengal police trying to shield Sheikh Shah Jahan from the gruesome crimes that he has been named in? At this point in time, the documents that we have accessed actually clearly tells us that how there was a massive difference in the investigation that happened and in the FIR that happened, and eventually when charge sheets were filed, and even in that charge sheet, if at all Sheikh Shah Jahan's name was there, the allegations against him were diluted, the charges against him were diluted in a very massive manner. In some cases, the names of new people were added in that charge sheet, which eventually meant that the people who were accused of committing that crime, who were identified at that point of committing that crime, were allowed to let go. So yes, it remains to be seen now if at all the new cases that have been registered against Sheikh Shah Jahan, once the attack on the enforcement directorate happened, there were new cases that were filed against Sheikh Shah Jahan on the pressure that was made on the Bengal police by the Bharatiya Janata Party, and also by the continuous media coverage that started happening once this entire thing came to the fore, that how Sheikh Shah Jahan and his men were exploiting women. Will these cases actually find a logical end, and the people who were the victims, would they actually get justice? Because the people who actually went ahead and filed cases against Sheikh Shah Jahan, they definitely did not seem to get the justice that they had deserved.
Okay, Anshul, you've pointed to a few different examples that your research has found from over the last few years. I want to ask you once again to take our audiences to one specific example. You just said that in one particular FIR, it was written that Sheikh Shah Jahan was absconding. Can you tell us what year that was from? Because you also pointed out that in that same year, in that same duration, Sheikh Shah Jahan was seen attending public processions, interacting with locals in the Sandesh Khali region. So he clearly wasn't absconding. When was this?
So this is a case of 2022, where it has been accused that this case actually pertains to a protest that was carried out by Sheikh Shah Jahan and his men. In this entire case, there are two FIRs registered. The first FIR says that this entire protest was carried out illegally, and the manner in which these protests were carried out, this actually hampered the movement of ambulances and other public services that were needed to cross through the main roads in that entire area. On the other hand, the second FIR that has been registered in this entire matter actually tells that how there were people who were armed with weapons, and not only weapons but other sharp objects as well, and once the police tried to actually go ahead and remove them from the spot, they started stone pelting at the police officials. There were several police officials who were injured in this protest as well. There were weapons that were brandished in this entire protest as well. Now, once the charge sheet to the second FIR was filed by the West Bengal police, what we have been told is that the name of Sheikh Shah Jahan was present over there, but there were at least 6 people who were named as an accused, but Sheikh Shah Jahan was said as absconding in this entire matter. Remember, this case is of 2022 itself, very recent case, and in that the name of Sheikh Shah Jahan was told as absconding, and hence the learned court also issued a warrant against Sheikh Shah Jahan to be arrested and to be presented in front of the court. But even post that, there was no stringent action that was taken by the West Bengal police.
Anshul, can I please ask you to stay with us? We'll come back to you in just a minute. We're going to ask you more questions. Okay, the opposition in West Bengal, BJP, remember, they've been training their guns at the TMC over all of these allegations over the last few weeks. Rahul Sinha from the BJP joins us right now. Let's go over to him. Mr. Sinha, it was the Calcutta High Court that first said that, and I'm just reading out for our audiences the exact words, but they said that these were all complaints that happened 4 years ago, and it's taken 4 years for all of those cases to mature into 42 charge sheets. The High Court was essentially saying, what has the West Bengal police been doing for the last 4 years? Now, the research my colleague Anshul has brought us points to exactly that. Can you comment on some of that research, which essentially shows that the West Bengal police may have not been naming Sheikh Shah Jahan in certain cases deliberately?
देखिए, शेख शाहजहां को पश्चिम बंग सरकार ने इतना बढ़ाया और उनको खुलेआम छूट दे दिया। संदेश खाली का मुख्यमंत्री शेख शाहजहां, बंगाल का मुख्यमंत्री ममता बनर्जी, ऐसा स्थिति था। पुलिस ने इनको अरेस्ट परसों किया और कैसे प्रोड्यूस करेंगे, कब करेंगे, क्या करेंगे, ये सब विचार विमर्श इन लोगों ने करके आज घोषणा किया। दूसरा नंबर, शेख शाहजहां का ऊपर बहुत सारे केसेस लगाया वेस्ट बंगाल पुलिस, लेकिन ज्यादा से ज्यादा केस है जो बेलेबल सेक्शन है। तो इसीलिए शेख शाहजहां को 4 साल से इन्होंने ऐसा लूटपाट लगातार करके आ रहा है और कंप्लेन भी बहुत है। एक्चुअली इन्होंने कर रहा है 9 साल से, 2009 से कर रहा है। और इन्होंने बांग्लादेश से आए और ये बांग्लादेश से आके यहीं पर बैठा, मतलब घुसपैठी है। और सीपीएम उसको शरण दिया, सीपीएम उसको वहीं पर गुंडा बनाया और सीपीएम ने मदद दिया। और उसके बाद जब तृणमूल कांग्रेस आए, तृणमूल कांग्रेस तो उनको ब्लॉक प्रेसिडेंट बना दिया, पंचायत का उनको ब्लॉक का मेंबर बना दिया। ये सारे करके पूरा शाहजहां को एक पुष्टि दे दिया तृणमूल कांग्रेस ने। और उसी सुयोग में उन्होंने महिला से लेकर जमीन से लेकर पूरा अत्याचार संदेशखाली पर किया है। और पुलिस का जो केसेस है उसमें ये सारे केस नहीं है। जो कॉम्प्लेन महिला लोगों का है, सारे कॉम्प्लेन इसमें शामिल नहीं हुआ। इसीलिए सरकार अभी भी उनको बचाने का कोशिश कर रहा है।
Okay, Mr. Sinha, हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए धन्यवाद. Mr. Sinha essentially making the allegation that it was first the CPIM that supported and promoted Sheikh Shahjahan, that the TMC came later. That's one of multiple allegations he's just made. But let's go over to Riju Datta, spokesperson for the TMC, who has actually joined us a few times in the past to also discuss this entire story. Mr. Datta, thank you for joining us this evening on CNN News 18. Mr. Datta, we've actually spoken to you a few times. We've asked you this question. You know, so far we asked you why had the TMC not suspended Sheikh Shahjahan, even though the High Court had already come down on him. Today morning, obviously, the TMC suspending him and him being arrested by the West Bengal police. So big developments in this entire story. But Mr. Datta, what I want to come to you to ask you is, my colleague Anshul presenting certain documents that show that in a few different places, it seems as if the West Bengal police historically was shielding Sheikh Shahjahan. The example he brings up, and he brings up a few, but one example he brings up is from 2022, where he says the West Bengal police in a case said that Sheikh Shahjahan was absconding. And this was at a time when Sheikh Shahjahan was very much appearing in public, interacting with locals, and very much meeting his other party members. How was he absconding at that time?
See, what has happened today was a historic day when Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister and the Home Minister of the state, did her Raj Dharm, and she has not only got Sheikh Shahjahan arrested, the primary accused in the Sandesh Khali fiasco, but she has got all other Trinamool Congress representatives arrested as well. So basically from today morning, whether it is the ED, whether it is the CBI, whether it's the BJP central leadership or whether it is the BJP state leadership, it is a moe moment for them. They have lost the plot basically, because tomorrow their all leader Vishwaguru is going to come to Bengal and he does not have a script to talk about. We have done our part. Rather than dwelling in the past, rather than going back into 2000s, I challenge on your show and I dare Mr. Narendra Modi to take the same action against Sukhvinder Adhikari, against whom ED and CBI has filed a charge sheet in the Naroda and Sharoda scam. Tomorrow when Mr. Modi will come to Bengal, rather than taking pictures against this accused Sukhvinder Adhikari, can he take the same decision that Mamata Banerjee has taken? Get Shahjahan arrested and suspend him from the party for 6 years. First, BJP should talk about that. Bijbhushan Saran Singh is sitting in the parliament, after molesting our Olympians. This Teni is roaming around having cups of tea and coffee in the central hall. What has BJP done? What has BJP done against Narayan Rane, Ajit Pawar, Conrad Sangma, Hemant Biswa Sharma? We walk the talk. We have brought the accused to the book. What has BJP done? Okay, so BJP should not give lectures. They should first take action against Sukhvinder Adhikari, then we will listen to anything.
Okay, so Mr. Datta, obviously it was very important that I wanted to hear, all of TMC's point, and you will agree with me that this phrase, Raj Dharma, is something we've heard a few times over the last few weeks. The TMC has said, look, we are going to do our Raj Dharma, as you've said, we're going to do this 100%. But sir, I do want to ask you, all of the questions you've raised against the BJP, we'll take to the BJP, but I do want to ask you, sir, this question that we're raising today, where my colleague Anshul has gone back, looked at, for example, FIRs that come in from 2019, 2020. The point of this, sir, is to understand if the TMC, and of course, as you said, this is relevant to other states too, but in this case, we're looking at the TMC. My colleague Anshul Singh, is there a need, sir, to analyze the way in which the West Bengal police has responded? A systematic overhaul perhaps needed in Sandesh Khali, sir? Because the fact that these cases were taking place since 2019, 2020, the Calcutta High Court has said exactly this. Why did it take 4 years for this to mature into multiple complaints? So do you feel, and will the TMC be doing a systematic overhaul? Perhaps they've taken Sheikh Shah Jahan into custody. But will we see the system change, sir?
Straightforward answer. We have brought Saran to book. We have arrested him. We have suspended him from the party for the next 6 years. Trinamool Congress is a party of Ma, Mati and Manush. So whatever is good for Sandesh Khali, for the people of Sandesh Khali, because we are the ruling party, this is our third term and Mamata Banerjee is the third term Chief Minister, we will do the needful. But again, before you end this conversation, I will request Zaka Jacob, your colleague Anshul, to do a little research on the leader of opposition of Bengal, Sukhvinder Adhikari, who's mentioned in the charge sheet of ED and CBI, Naroda Sharoda scam. Then he switched sides to BJP in 2020, and now he has gone through the washing machine and uske sare paap dhul gaye hain, and tomorrow he will be on the stage with the Prime Minister of India. So you should do the needful also. When you talk about TMC, have the guts to talk about BJP also.
Right, Mr. Datta, what you've said right now, the washing machine allegation, that's something opposition parties have said a few times. Thank you for joining us. Those are questions we'll take to our reporters, but right now we're going to head into a quick break. We'd like to thank both the BJP, both the TMC. We're going to head into a quick break. On the other side, more on this story. On the other side, this is The Nation at 5.
Brought to you by
Where the leaders from the Bharatiya Janata Party were actually trying to reach on ground. In fact, the top officers of the West Bengal police also reached on the ground, open camps for encouraging women to actually come out and talk about their complaints. So yes, this controversy has been going on. We are expecting that some sort of action might be taken by the West Bengal police. But yes, at this point, the Enforcement Directorate is also looking at the proceedings very, very closely.
Absolutely. We'll have to wait and watch how the law enforcement, in fact, proceeds as far as charges those charges against Sheikh Shah Jahan with regards to molesting women is concerned. But in fact, I'm going to dive deeper with you, Anshul, as far as the PDS scam case is concerned. But at the moment, let's also listen to the political reactions that have come in before we take this conversation forward.
शेख शाहजहां की आज की अरेस्ट के बाद यह सबूत होता है कि तृणमूल कांग्रेस सरकार इनको राजधर्म पालन करना आता है। जिस तरीके से ये जीरो टॉलरेंस टू करप्शन से मुंह पे नहीं बोलता है, काम में करके भी दिखाती है। हमारा चीफ मिनिस्टर बहुत पहले कह चुकी है कि जो आम आदमी के खिलाफ कुछ करेगा उसको कोई रिहा नहीं किया जाएगा।
देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की लगातार आंदोलन की वजह से ये सरकार बाध्य हुई शेख शाहजहां को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए। पहले से तो ये सरकार डिनायल मोड में था, एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर रहा था कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ है। तो हमने पहले से ही बोला था, मैंने पहले से ही बोला था कि सरकार को बाध्य करेंगे, घुटने पे ले आएंगे कि शेख शाहजहां को गिरफ्तार करने के लिए ये बाध्य हो जाएगी।
Sheikh Shahjahan has been arrested. We welcome the steps of state police. You see, our leader Abhishek Banerjee earlier pointed out that due to some parts of order from Honorable High Court, state police has been restrained from taking any action.
इसलिए ये अरेस्ट नहीं है, ये म्यूचुअल एडजस्टमेंट है। जितना टाइम तक सेंट्रल एजेंसी इसको हिरासत में नहीं लेगा, उतना टाइम तक वहां का पीड़ित जनता को न्याय नहीं मिलेगा।
Not in this case. In this case, the complaint did not pertain to 354 at all.
Any sexual assault case against Shah Jahan, sir, till now?
There have been many cases. I don't remember exact nitty-gritties of all the cases. There have been many cases after 7th, 8th or 9th February. But like I said, let me reiterate, all those cases which have been registered since 8th or 9th February, they pertain to incidents which had taken place 2 or 3 years back. And investigating them, gathering evidence, marshalling evidence takes time, takes a reasonable amount of time, particularly in terms of cases which had happened 2 years back. But this was a case, in the case in which he has been forwarded, it took place, as you all know, on 5th January during the course of a ED raid in Najat Peace area.
The ED sources have now shared exclusive information with CNN News 18 with regards to Sheikh Shah Jahan's arrest. The High Court, they are saying, had asked the West Bengal police to arrest Sheikh Shah Jahan, and today he has been arrested by West Bengal police, and that it is evident that he was in touch with the police. The court had ordered a stay on Sheikh Shah Jahan's arrest in one case, but there were other cases in which the Bengal police could have arrested him, but they did not. The question now that the Enforcement Directorate is posing is, why has Sheikh Shah Jahan been arrested today? Why wasn't this arrest done earlier? For more details, let's quickly go across to Anshul, who's bringing us this information. Anshul, remember, the Bengal police has been very quick, and not just the Bengal police, but even TMC leaders like Abhishek Banerjee have said that there were legal ramifications to his arrest, and there were hurdles, which is why he was not being able to get arrested. But having said that, how the Bengal police always latched on to the Enforcement Directorate to sort of camouflage why Sheikh Shah Jahan was not arrested so far?
Well, definitely there is a big controversy going on between the West Bengal police and the Enforcement Directorate. This morning in the press conference that was done by the West Bengal police, they had raised question that there was a stay that was granted by the court, and hence the West Bengal police could not go ahead and arrest Sheikh Shah Jahan, whereas there was no stay for the Enforcement Directorate to go ahead and arrest him. Why didn't the Enforcement Directorate arrest him now? To this, what sources within the ED have told CNN News 18 at this point in time is that when they went to question Sheikh Shah Jahan at his residence, they had credible information that there is a huge stash of cash and there is a huge stash of black money that could be stacked at his house, and that is the reason why Sheikh Shah Jahan went ahead and attacked the ED officials. Post at the manner in which the investigations were done by the West Bengal police, that is also a very big question mark. Also, the Enforcement Directorate has said that there should be a parallel investigation that should happen, that who within the administration was actually trying to shield Sheikh Shah Jahan, and in fact helped him to do away with the money and weapons that were stashed at his house as well. Now, what sources within the Enforcement Directorate are telling us that they will be keeping a very close eye on the investigation that is being carried out by the West Bengal police. Also, the manner in which the West Bengal police has gone ahead and registered several FIRs against Sheikh Shah Jahan. This seems to be a tactic by the West Bengal administration to keep Sheikh Shah Jahan away from the hands of central agencies like ED and CBI, because remember, once the police custody is granted for one case, there is a limit of 14 days for the accused to be granted a police custody, and until and unless that accused is sent to judicial custody, the Enforcement Directorate cannot go ahead and ask for their custody to be handed over to them. So yes, this is what the ED is suspecting at this point in time, and that is the reason why they say that they will be keeping a very close eye on this entire investigation, and they will also make sure that as soon as Sheikh Shah Jahan is sent to judicial custody, they will try to take him under their custody, because they need to question him on the PDS scam, and not only on the PDS scam but also on the land grabbing accusations that the Enforcement Directorate is looking at this point in time. So yes, there are several things that the Enforcement Directorate needs to question Sheikh Shah Jahan about. Now, since he has been arrested by the Bengal police, they will now keep a close eye on how the Bengal police will go ahead with this investigation, and not only with this investigation, as to how quickly can Sheikh Shah Jahan be sent to judicial custody. Post that, Enforcement Directorate could move the courts and ask for his custody to be taken by the Enforcement Directorate themselves.
Absolutely, that's a very interesting point that you're making, that the ED can only gain access to Sheikh Shah Jahan once Sheikh Shah Jahan is granted judicial custody. Having said that, do take our viewers through what are the charges that he's been arrested under at the moment, because remember, Sheikh Shah Jahan is someone who's been facing a host of charges. It's not just molestation of women.
Well, yes, if you see the manner in which the investigation was being done by the West Bengal police, the initial charge, there were several cases that were filed against him, and in some of the cases his name was also not registered by the West Bengal police. That is another accusation that is being put forth. Now, today in the case that he has been registered, he has been arrested for attacking ED officials, or being the mastermind for that attack that happened on ED officials on February 5th, when a team of Enforcement Directorate actually tried to reach his residence to carry out a raid or search operation, because the ED had specific information that there could be a huge stash of illegal weapons and black money that could be stocked up at his house. This was the credible information that the salutes of Enforcement Directorate had, and that is the reason why they decided to go ahead and carry out a raid at his residence. But the manner in which these attacks happened, the Enforcement Directorate went ahead and registered an FIR in this entire matter to the West Bengal police, and it is in that case today that
Welcome back. You're watching The Nation at 5 right here on CNN News 18. We're ending the show with news about the Indian economy, data that the government is providing. Let's share it with you and then we'll go over to our reporters to understand more. The government putting out data to suggest that the Indian economy grew by 8.4% between October and December in 2023. My colleague Pallavi with us to provide us with more details on this story. Pallavi, over to you.
This is a huge development because we are looking at a time when the government has been talking, and during the quarter account which took place a few days back, and the finance minister had spoken about the green shooting of the Indian economy and how Indian economy is one of the few ones in the world, Toya, where post-COVID times our recovery has actually been fast, and there are infrastructural, social development. On all those parameters, India actually talks about a huge growth story. The GDP figures are almost double. It goes up to 8.4%. Economically speaking, of course, this is great news. It's going to add a lot of confidence to the startups, to the corporate sector. Politically speaking, when you're heading for Lok Sabha elections, it just pushes and reinforces the government's narrative, and something which has been pushed forward by the Prime Minister himself, that India is going to become a $1 trillion economy. And, we have become one of the third or the fifth largest economies in the world. And, while we talk about self-reliance and Atmanirbhar, we are also becoming an attractive destination as far as foreign investments are also concerned.
Yes, those details. All right. With that, we are going to draw our show to a close. Thank you for staying with us over the last 1 hour. This was The Nation at 5. Next, my colleague Akanksha Swaroop brings you Plain Speak. Take a look.
A very warm welcome. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Akanksha Swaroop. Now today, after 55 days of being on the run, ever since an ED team raided his residence on 5th of January, TMC strongman Sheikh Shahjahan was finally arrested from Meena Khan police station area last midnight by West Bengal police. Now he was produced in the court today afternoon and sent to 10 days of police custody. The West Bengal Police Criminal Investigation Department has taken over this probe in the case lodged under the Nazat police station in the complaint filed by the Deputy Director of the Enforcement Directorate. This was in connection with the attack on ED officials on 5th of January, mind you, and not those charges of women exploitation. Meanwhile, the Calcutta High Court, while hearing a bail plea filed by Sheikh Shahjahan this afternoon, came down heavily on the former Trinamool Congress leader, stating that it had